So, sport is all about celebrating heroes, and this is a very special episode, a very close episode, which is very close to my heart because I have a hero. I have a sporting hero in Sikandar Raza with me, Zimbabwe's stalwart, Zimbabwe's talisman, who has emerged as one of the hottest properties in world cricket right now. First of all, thank you, Sikandar, for doing this. Thank you so much for taking time out for this interview.
Thank you very much. Listen, I know I've delayed it for a few days, but it's been busy with the Chennai Braves for T10. But now we've traveled to Abu Dhabi and I'm settled, so I thought today is a great opportunity to speak to you.
Thank you so much again. I know you are a busy man right now with T10 league coming up and plethora of matches up in the corner. But Sikandar, let's start this interview with your story. It must be a fascinating journey from Sialkot to Zimbabwe, emerging as one of their biggest cricketing heroes. How tough was it for you? Tell us about the obstacles you have faced, the challenges you have faced in your career.
So the challenges weren't really, the first challenge, as I said, was to qualify for Zimbabwe, which takes 10 years to be in the country.
Yeah.
And apart from, if you ask me about the cricketing challenges, the only challenge I had was to perform. Otherwise, Zimbabwe cricket was always there for me and try and make sure my papers get ready as quickly as possible so that once the time frame is done, I can be eligible to represent Zimbabwe. So most of the challenges were basically language, being from Pakistan, so English wasn't that great, and then of course I didn't really play much cricket in Pakistan. It was just a hobby, and the biggest challenge would have to be to do the 10 years in the country. But apart from that, no other challenge.
No other challenges, but you have now created a headache, plenty of challenges for all the opposition teams with your cricket. But let's go back a couple of years back. You must have thought that your career is over. Tell us about that phase. How tough was it? Because you had something. You had a tumor threat. You had a cancer threat, but thankfully it was not that serious. But how challenging was it for you, your family, and of course thinking about all the negative things? It must have been tough for you.
Yeah, listen, I think that's probably the toughest challenge I've faced so far. And may Allah make it easy for me. I think let's hope that was the only toughest challenge. So it was quite tough for myself, of course, but I thought it was a lot tougher for a family as well.
Yeah.
Being the firstborn, and it was hard for my family to take that there's a slight risk of cancer and tumor in the marrow. So listen, I remember those 2 weeks of the biopsy report was quite tough, and when the report came, then another surgery and then another rehab, but at least it wasn't as tough as the first 2 weeks. So from the diagnosis to the MRI to the CT scan to the biopsy operation and the time frame that we had to go through to confirm the result, I thought that was probably the toughest part for my family.
Absolutely, but let's look at the good things forward. 210 runs and 219 runs and 10 wickets in this T20 World Cup. One of the contenders for the player of the tournament, although someone else won it. But it must have been a big achievement for you. How proud you felt after seeing the runs on the board, after seeing the wickets you were taking for your team. How proud was it for you and your family after the World Cup?
I think as a player, I didn't really feel all those emotions as you mentioned. I'm sure the family was proud, and when I got home, Zimbabweans were proud, the cricketing family was proud, the relatives were proud. For me, I don't really want to say that I was proud of that achievement, because had I done a bit better, had we all done a bit better, Zimbabwe could have won few games. We have a very good team culture now that the team needs always comes first before the personal needs. It was nice to contribute towards the success of the team, and that's what I'm really proud of. Maybe not so much as numbers, but Allah has been very kind, and alhamdulillah, it's nice to put those numbers. But again, if you do a little bit better in some of those crunch situations and the team wins it, then of course it's even better.
One man who would be proud of you is your captain, Craig Irvine, gifting 3 watches to you. How was that banter? We saw the post, the photo as well.
So that is all true. I remember we were going and we were just looking at the duty-free magazine in the picture, and he was sitting next to me. We pretty much sit next to one another because we both enjoy talking cricket and making plans and how we're going to tackle and what's going to happen. So we had a little competition among ourselves. We had a little challenge that we're going to push ourselves to win games for our country. And if one of us ended up succeeding, then the other friend will gift him, as you said. And I think my skipper is still probably eating pot noodles to try and make up for the money he lost.
Absolutely, but we have to talk about that Pakistan match, Sikandar. You changed it. It was your over that changed the momentum. 2 wickets. What were you thinking back then when the captain handed you the ball and said, "Give me the wickets"? What were you thinking? What was going through your mind?
Yeah, so I bowled the first 2 overs, and then he
Hmm.
came to me and he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Listen, we can try and squeeze in an over or two here or there,
Hmm.
and then inshallah I'll try and come back
Hmm.
if needed be." So skipper and
Hmm.
I had a very good chat, even on our way to Australia, and we kind of made plans when I should be looking to bowl, what my role will be.
Hmm.
Australia being associated with the fast, bouncy wickets, so as much as the plans were around the seamers, and rightly so, I thought blessing Muzrabani and Richard Garava, followed
Hmm.
by Brad Evans. I thought even the small spells of Luke Jongwe, I thought these
Yeah.
seamers bowl exceptionally well.
Hmm.
So in that Pakistan game, I thought the doors opened from the seamers anyway, and then there was this little partnership that we needed to break through. So on that day, Alhamdulillah, it was me.
Hmm.
The idea was to take wickets in that over, to be fair, and all I was thinking was, if we get a wicket here, the game could be open, and we take it from there.
Yep. And that last over, I recently interviewed Ryan Burl as well, and he said his mind completely went blank after the win. What happened in that last ball? But being a senior pro, you must have been asked by your captain, your bowler, what were you thinking back then? So what inputs did you give to them?
So Craig was very clear anyway, so I didn't have to
Mhm.
share much. But the only two things he asked was, when does Brad bowl? And I said Brad should bowl the last over, because we'd rather bowl Garava, who's having a great
Mhm.
game, who's bowled 3 overs for nothing. If he bowls another over of 5 or 6, and then at least the youngster will have 15 or 16 runs to defend in the last over. If you go the other way and we bowl Brad, and Richard might only have 5 or 6 to defend, then basically the game's over. So let's try and kill the game in the 19th rather than the 20th.
Mhm.
And the other thing he asked for was the plan for the second last and the last ball. And I thought, I'll share my plan. I shared my plan. Brad executed really well. Craig took a fantastic catch. And the last ball we got together, we had a little plan about, do we go bouncer, do we go wide, or so we said we'll back ourselves to bowl a good Yorker. Hopefully, it just stops on a square and it doesn't go too far, and that's about
Mhm.
it.
Dreams do come true. So, kids, what's your dream?
What is in you? So bright, colorful, and new. Sometimes it feels so hard, but you don't wanna give up.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
You can see my dream?
Of course, because I too had a dream. Some days I dreamt of becoming a tennis player, and some days a cricketer. To make their dreams real tomorrow, you need financial planning today. Choose from a range of child plans from Aegis Federal Life Insurance and help your child dream big.